Australia, and you guys seem to be extremely proud of the culture that you grew up in, and obviously your country. Is the name of the band taken from the famous beach?
It is. We started writing and taking music seriously when we moved overseas. So at the time when we kind of first formed the band between Tokyo and Paris, like it was 6.5 years ago or something,
Mm-hmm.
we were just looking for a kind of obscure word that no one would really draw any like preconceived ideas about. So we didn't want to be like another The Band. So we kind of went with a name that kind of encompassed the music style as we started, because it was kind of more of a beachy sound and like very true to its kind of the Australian roots and stuff. And and Tamarama is a place that we hang out in Australia, and like all our friends hang out. It's kind of like a meeting place, and we all kind of hang out in the rocks at Tamar. So we just thought it was a fitting name for us. And we also like the fact that, it's like the rhyming word, the Tama around that. It's kind of like that, got that feeling to it.
Cool. Now, when you guys started the band, did you always want to, when you were, starting to make music, the both of you, was it always just going to be a duo making, surf-inspired music, or did you want a band and tried it out and said, you know what, I think it'll just be better if we work out, just you and Potsy?
Well, we have a band that we've used for a really long time. Our bass player's been with us for nearly 4 years, and our drummer's fairly new, but he's kind of was kept in, so we do try and keep a band, that are guys that know the music and, like, have been with us. But we kind of started as a duo, and we were writing everything, so, and we kind of it progressed as the music got, as the music went on. We wanted to have it more of like a band feel. So, we had to find musicians, and we did that when we got to New York when we first started the EP. And then it's just kind of developed on. I mean, it's kind of for us creatively, it's easier to have two people running that kind of stuff and just have guys that we pay to do the band, so that it doesn't get more confusing than it needs to be.
Yeah, I definitely understand on that. So now, you have your brand of surf rock and, very cool, very laid back and chill type of music, and you targeted the West Coast and a lot of surfing communities, as we were speaking about before, playing in Montauk. Do you think like this is where like you want to target first and then like broaden out to major cities and see what happens from there?
Definitely our music is very fitting for that kind of culture, and more people listen to that kind of music in those kind of coastal towns, so it's definitely our target while we're here, and we tour a lot in Australia as well. But yeah, we're just trying to build our buzz up still. We still do play bigger cities or bigger festivals like Bonnaroo, and we played Mountain Jam as well, which was pretty decent crowds up in Hunter, New York. But yeah, we're definitely focusing on America and Australia right now, and then kind of seeing how we go from there.
Cool. So now you left Australia to record in New York, which is extremely filled with hustle and bustle. I mean, it's the most aggressive city in the world for playing that type of music that you have, which is, the opposite of that, and it's nice to unwind and relax to. What was it like recording in the Big Apple, and did the city inspire you in any way, shape, or form?
Definitely did. We had written a lot of songs before we even moved out to New York. So when we came to New York, it was about recording those songs. Obviously, when we first got here, we came for different reasons. Potsy was retouching. I came and moved out here with my ex-girlfriend at the time. And, we'd had a break for like 6 months or something. Me and Potsy was living in London, I was back in Australia. And we kind of reconnected back in New York, and we decided that we wanted to record the songs that we had already done. So we were on a shoestring budget, so we kind of found a friend of ours who we recorded the whole EP in his apartment. So it was an interesting experience, to go from that, and then, a couple of years later, we're signing with Motown and then, you know, doing our record with Dave Kahn at Avatar Studios, you know, so it was a big change. But yeah, definitely New York inspired the new record and, you know, broadened our sound and put a bit more of the elements of like rock and pop into our sound. So yeah, New York definitely has had an influential part in our music.
Very cool. Now, you had mentioned Dave Kahn that you had worked with, you know, and he's worked with some pretty heavy hitters like The Strokes and Sublime. What was it like having him produce your Dave?
It was a really great experience for us. I feel like Dave, he really spent the time developing us and you know, making us better singers, making us better writers, and challenging us and challenging our ideas of what the music should be. And you know, it was a good experience. You know, as anything, you know, you clash heads on ideas and whatever else. But you know, the big part of the reason for choosing Dave was exactly that reason. You know, like he'd done those credible bands like the Sublimes, Fishbone, Paul McCartney, The Strokes, Regina Spektor. You know, like he'd done all these big bands, and you know, he's had a lot of success. So it's good to be able to learn from someone like that.
Oh, of course. Oh, absolutely. Did you ever find yourself like, holy shit, I'm in awe right now. Like, I can't believe I'm working with this guy making my music in New York. You know, do you ever think that this would ever happen to you?
You know, we've worked fucking so hard at it, and it's good to be rewarded for that work. And there was definitely moments, you know, when we're in Avatar Studios in Room A, and, you know, Sean Pelton's laying down the drums, and we got David Kahn sitting there, you know, producing our songs, and it's just like a moment of, you know, wow, this is what life, you know, this is what life's all about for us. You know what I mean? It was a great time for us, and you know, it was a big learning curve, and really improved everything for us. So I mean, yeah, there's definitely that a lot.
Very awesome. So now, I mean, it's been a pretty tremendous year for you. You know, in the past couple of years, I should say. You know, you signed to Universal Motown. You know, you got the record in the bag, and then, you know, you got your own tour, and it culminates, you know, at Bonnaroo, which is, you know, this massive American festival. What was it playing, you know, what was that experience like, playing in front of all these familiar faces, you know, at a very bizarre crowd? You know, you have people there to see Jay-Z, you got people there to see Muse and Stevie Wonder, and you're catering to all these different people. Do you find it more difficult playing festivals like that? Especially that big in America, than like playing the little clubs?
I mean, you've got something to prove when you're a fairly unknown band in America, and you've got all these massive artists there, and you know, they're all kind of borrowed crowd, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like, so for us, it was a big deal for us to play well and get out there and just get some new fans. But I mean, it was really inspiring as well to see, you know, the biggest bands in the world, and you know, see where they're at, and you know, what they're doing with their live shows. And you know, it's a learning experience for us, being fairly new. But yeah, I think it was a good experience for us and a good eye opener for us, and it really made us think more about our show, and you know, challenging ourselves into making a better show, and you know, doing different things. So I thought it was pretty, all in all, a great experience.
Cool. So now, we've seen, especially here in America, it's pretty much been kind of like an Aussie explosion the past couple of years. We've seen Australian music has been on the rise. With, you know, Wolf Mother, The Greats, and label mates and friends of mine, Violent Soho, and I know they're all different genres, but they're all coming from the same place. Do you feel that your homeland now is going to be the new hotspot for music, or has it always been, and now it's just the limelight's kind of shining on it a bit more?
Yeah, I think over the last kind of 6 years, Australia's become a much more prominent thing in music, and you know, we've got some great artists coming through, and you know, there's just great music everywhere, and we're just getting more of it now, I think, you know, and it's inspiring the young kids to pick up their guitars, pick up the drums, you know, singing and whatever else, and really pursue music. And I think we're so well accepted here in America, and people kind of really embrace us as people and our lifestyle, and you know, and the fact that there's a lot of talent from Australia, and I think they're really giving us a chance. And I mean, I think it's a great time for Aussies to be over here and you know, working on it.
To my next question, which I ask every international men I speak with, and I get a different answer every time, surprisingly. So that's why I keep asking it. And is it still a big deal for you as a foreign act to make it in America?
I definitely think it's a challenge. I mean, obviously, yeah, it is definitely a challenge. But I think they kind of embrace it. I don't think it really matters so much for singers as it does for actors, because when you're singing, it doesn't really come out, and your accent doesn't really come out while you sing. Some people it really does, but I feel like with us, we don't really have strong Australian accents when we're singing.
Are there any other Australian acts that we should be paying attention to in the States?
I mean, Empire of the Sun are really doing great over here. Wolfmother are always still a strong contingent in America. Other Aussie bands, there's another Aussie band called Tame Impala that are pretty good.
Okay.
And Right Coming.
Oh, cool. All right.
Yeah.
I'll check them all out.